And welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey with my ears and everything that I've gone through with my ears. So I'm going to show some pictures at the end of the video, so if stuff like that grosses you out, yeah, it's gross. Just don't watch the end of the video. But yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I guess we'll start off by talking about the beginning. Yeah, I guess we'll start there. So I've literally had ear problems my whole life since I can even remember. I've always just had like ear infections and like ear pain, and so when I was like, I think 3 or 4 years old, I had a set of children's tubes put into my ears to kind of help the ear infections and see if that would help me like be able to handle my ears better. Those tubes helped for a little bit while they lasted, but they ended up falling out, which is what they're supposed to do. But the children's tubes fell out, and I was still getting lots of ear infections and was still dealing with my ears a lot. So my doctor actually decided to put a pair of adult tubes into my ears because the children ones didn't really last that long, and I was having such bad ear problems that I ended up getting the adult tubes put into my ears. Like I said, the tubes are meant to fall out. So the adult tubes fell out eventually, and I was left with a gaping hole in my eardrum. The doctor said since I was a kid that the hole would close up and that over time it would get smaller and it'd get better and I would be fine basically. Well, here I am, 19 years old, and my holes never closed up, so I had to get surgery to fix those holes. So yeah. So I go to my ENT and we look at my ears, and I swear I've been going to the ENT forever. And I finally have insurance, and it's finally the time that I am ready to get the surgery for my ears. So in February of 2018, so last year, I decided to get my left ear done first, which was my worst one. We wanted to kind of get the worst one done out of the way, so the second one would just be a breeze. So in February, I got the Tympanoplasty, which is the surgery to repair your eardrum. And yeah, that was something. So I got my right ear in July of 2018, so like not too long after that. And yeah, let's talk about that. Okay, so with the surgeries, I went to appointments, got it all planned. I was honestly really scared because there is some risk with the surgery, obviously. Nothing major. I mean, most of the surgeries are fine, especially since I'm younger. Age with this surgery has a lot to do with it. So the younger that you are, the better of it'll be that the surgery will heal well and everything will turn out really good. Fun fact, my mom actually had this same exact surgery. She's had ear problems her whole life too, so I guess I got it from her. But she had the surgery before me. She actually had it a couple years ago, and she's only had problems with one of her ears, so she ended up only getting the surgery on one of her ears. And the surgery didn't really do anything for her. So that being said, going into my surgery, I was pretty scared because I was like, great, this did nothing for my mom, so it's gonna do nothing for me. But I had to just keep telling myself I'm younger. My mom's in her 40s, like she's getting close to 50, and I'm 19, so it'll be good. And it was, so that was the good thing. So the recovery. So after the surgery, it takes about, I don't even know, it depends on the person. I personally took off 2 weeks from work just to recover, because I do work at a retail job, and even though it's not like anything like crazy, there is like lifting, and that you definitely cannot do when you've just had surgery. So I did have to take off of school and work a little bit, but it was okay because I got back to work soon. Actually, with my first surgery, I was so bored, like literally so bored, just sitting at home trying to rest, that I ended up calling my work and was like, can I come work a little bit? And then I ended up working, was like, okay, this is too soon. My ears are like bleeding at work. Um, yeah, that was that. So basically, when they do the surgery, it takes about an hour for them to actually do the surgery, and they take a piece of graft from behind your ear, and they take that graft and somehow connect it, attach it to your eardrum. And then before they do that, they actually put packing on the inside of your eardrum and like the outside. So if like this is your eardrum, there's packing on this side and there's packing on this side to hold it in place until it can heal and basically grow together. So after the surgery, you get like a little cup thing to go over your ear just to kind of like keep it protected and stuff while you sleep and all that. But you only wear that for like the first couple of days. which is actually really soothing. I'm so glad I had that. Like, it was so comforting. It felt so nice. But anyways, for you have all the packing in your ear, so you literally cannot hear anything out of that one ear because it's just literally packed stuff with like cotton and packing and this and that. And there also is stitches in there as well, but they're dissolvable stitches, and you can feel them dissolving once they start dissolving, which is crazy. Anyways, yeah, there's packing and tons of blood for a while. So the packing stays in for a good while. So you're basically stuck hearing out of one ear for a while. And let me just start off by saying that I didn't realize how bad my hearing actually was until I had these surgeries. And so I did my worst ear first, but I still couldn't really hear out of any of my ears. So I had one ear packed with a bunch of stuff, and then another ear that hadn't been worked on yet, and I couldn't really hear. So that was really miserable, if I can talk. But yeah, that really sucked not being able to hear. I was grumpy, I was moody. I literally remember sitting on the couch one day after I'd gotten the packing out and I was like still trying to heal with my left ear, the first one. And I looked over at John and I was like, can you like look at my ear? It kind of like feels weird. I don't really know what's going on. He looks over and he's like, um, I was like, what? He's like, there's literally blood just dripping down your face. And I was like, it's all down your ear. And I was like, oh. Yeah, I couldn't really feel anything. I didn't have any sensations in my ear. I couldn't really feel it. Like, I could touch it and it was kind of like numb. I couldn't really feel anything. So that kind of sucked about my surgery, but it was okay. It healed. So the like sensation, tingling, numbing, all that was like really annoying. And all of your nerves and stuff that causes all the tingling and sensation and numbing isn't really healed until about like 6 months after your surgery. So I actually ended up, the way the thing fell and all the time dates, I ended up actually getting my right ear, the second ear, done before technically the first one was really healed, which gave me a lot of anxiety because I was like, okay, I have one ear that's not even completely healed yet, and I have another ear that I'm about to get surgery on. So that really scared me. I was thinking, okay, I'm about to get surgery, I'm gonna have all this packing, and then I have this ear. I mean, it had been months, but I was still scared for no reason, and the first one went fine, and that was the worst one, so I mean, the second one had to be better. So I go to July to get my right ear done finally, and I get done, and it was honestly a really better process. I think because I had just been through it, I knew what to expect. I was a lot calmer about it, and since it was my better ear the second time around, it actually didn't take as long to heal, and everything just didn't feel as bad to me, I guess, because I had already dealt with the worst one first. So I mean, it still sucked. It was still a lot of bleeding and gross and this and that coming out of my ears, but you know, whatever. So I went to school. I actually started, hold on, let me think a little bit. Yeah, I started school in August and I just had my surgery in July. So I literally go back to school. Still trying to deal with my ear, but it was okay. So eventually I go back to my doctor to get a hearing test because both of my ears are healed, and that was super exciting. So I take a hearing test, and before my surgery, I had a hard time hearing like deep sounds, like male voices particularly. I could hear higher pitched sounds better, but I still had really bad hearing. They give you like a little thing before you take the surgery saying like if you don't choose to do the surgery, basically like what your current condition is. And mine said my hearing was poor. It wasn't even okay, it wasn't good, it was poor. Like I had really bad hearing. It was below average. So I get my hearing test and I'm like all excited, like, oh, I could hear, you know, and I could notice that I could hear more because we would be like sitting in my house and I would look over at John and be like, what was that noise? And he's like, oh, that's such and such. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, I've never been able to hear these sort of sounds before. So that was really exciting, like hearing things for the first time. Like, I remember sitting in my house, and I don't live in a neighborhood or anything. I just live on a street, but I remember sitting in my house and hearing a car ride by, and I was like, what was that? He's like, that's a car just riding by, you know, they just had their music playing. I was like, I heard that. Like, I would have never been able to hear something like that before, but it's just like the small little cool things. Like, I don't know, it just really made me thankful and grateful for my ears because I've always had to deal with like bad things with them, and my ears have always been troubles for me. But after getting that hearing test and literally seeing my results of how much my ears have improved from the surgery really made me just like, I don't even know how to describe it. It made me really happy Um, we actually went over the results with the doctor, and somehow I can hear higher pitch sounds better now after my surgery. I don't hear, I obviously hear deeper sounds better than I used to, but I don't hear them as well as I hear higher pitch sounds now, which is kind of like flip flopped. But it's cool, it's really interesting. I love hearing all these like cool things now, except sometimes when I'm trying to take tests or do things that are supposed to be quiet, it's really annoying because I do hear everything now. But it's cool. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that my ears have finally been able to be fixed. Um, yeah, here it is now, January. So I've almost had a full year since I've had my left ear done, and I do still deal with like draining and a lot of wax actually coming out of my ears and pain with my ears, but I almost feel like I will always have ear problems, so I will just accept that. But the surgery did do tremendous work for me, and I am so glad I got it on both of my ears because I had always been so nervous all of my life, but I'm glad I did it because it really did help. Even though it didn't really help me getting ear infections and dealing with that all the time, it helped my hearing, which is a huge thing for me. So I'm super grateful for that. So, okay, now I'm going to show you guys some pictures, and that'll be the end of it. If you don't like gross stuff, this won't be for you.